Even Fuego can tell you the pursuit of 3 points is never easy. Pedro Ribeiro's goal was SportsCenter top 10 quality. Ronnie Argueta added a goal of his own, but Tulsa hit the comeback trail and toppled the Foxes. They settle for a draw. 2 of 3 against San Antonio FC. The action begins next. A road trip right around the corner, but it's back to Chuck Chansey Park. And again, the fans marching their way in. Fire Squad Fresno has arrived. We're glad that you have too. San Antonio FC set to take the road and take on Fresno FC. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Jordan Angeli is alongside Mike Watts. And Fresno is off to a 5-game unbeaten streak. This is a good run for a first-year franchise. There are a lot of them this year. A lot of them are playing pretty well.
They are playing well. I think for Fresno, they talked about building and making sure every game it gets a little bit better. And knowing that it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think if you're Coach Adam Smith, you're happy with the way that your team has started these first few matches.
On the other side, if you're Darren Powell for San Antonio, 2 years ago an expansion team, last year 14 unbeaten to start the year. They're looking to pick up some wins, and today on the road, they're hoping Ever Guzman can find the goals that have been lacking in vital moments.
Guzman is a central number 9 type forward. He wants to get in front of net, make things happen. Has had his opportunities this season, 6 shots, 4 of them going on target. And it's just kind of, when you're in that situation, getting one in the back of the net, then things start to kind of find their way a little bit easier. So Coach Darren Powell hoping that today is his day.
On the other side, Adam Smith is hoping that Pedro Ribeiro's one banger of a goal last time out leads to more great things.
This was the best goal I have seen in a long time. Ribeiro hitting a rocket from about 35 yards out, but he not only has the ability to get forward and distribute and get on goal, but he likes to sit in there. He breaks things up defensively too, and is a key player in the way that Fresno FC wants to play.
So Fresno FC trying to extend a 5-match unbeaten streak. They haven't found the wins that they're looking for. They're trying to turn on the gas against a San Antonio team that had the most sterling defensive reputation in the USL last year. The action comes your way from Chuck Chansey Park, and it's next. Welcome back. Whether you need the scarf or not, it's always nice to have it at a match like this. Fresno FC, San Antonio FC set to match up to close the USL weekend as we meet the starting lineups. And we begin with the home side. Fresno Foxes, they rather San Antonio first. Let's begin with them, shall we? Cesar Elizondo is into the lineup, and Ever Guzman, of course, will be the focus of the offense.
And they only have one goal scorer out there so far this season in Pekka. They have 2 on the bench, so we'll see what changes they make going forward. But this is a San Antonio team who solid defensively, and I think that's going to be the key for them here tonight.
On the other side, now let's look at the Fresno starting 11. And they do have to make changes because they're without Martin Del Campo, they're without Ronnie Argueta.
And Camden Feo comes in the back line, and then, of course, the power of Kaffa up front. But I really like Verhoeven and what he does in that wide position. He was an interesting one to watch. Midweek, we'll see if he has the same impact in this game.
Well, these fans standing up, they're ready for this one to kick off as Fresno on a 5-match unbeaten streak. But they've drawn their last 2, and Jordan, you've been in these scenarios where a win feels like a great outcome, and then you have it snatched from you in the final moments, and a draw suddenly feels like a loss. These Foxes are trying to turn it around here at the Chuck today. It's a big game for them momentum-wise.
And they definitely felt like that because, you know, you get a stunning goal by Ribeiro there in the first half, and then you give one up late to tie the game, and you feel like you lose it. And I think this is a good test for this young Fresno FC team. You know, they're still figuring out who they are as a squad. What do they want to play like going forth this season? And I think a test like that early on, how do you rebound from it after a midweek draw like that?
These Foxes ready to take the field here again. They've got a 2-game road swing coming up. Didier Drogba and Phoenix Rising in Scottsdale, Arizona, and then this San Antonio FC team again. We're underway. This concludes the USL weekend, and it's in Fresno. The sun is out. Fresno FC taking on San Antonio FC. It's the white jerseys for the road team, a group that has just 1 win through 5 games this year. It's a far cry from how they started last year. They were the story of the league with 14 unbeaten. But they lost some key pieces along the way, and they're trying to find themselves again here under Darren Powell. He's done such a good job with the franchise in now its 3rd year. Long run for Jamal Johnson. Has that deflect away. Rochandel making the start at center back. They're without Stephen McCarthy again, the lower body injury.
Which I was upset about. Steve McCarthy, my roommate from college.
we took away one of those conflicts of interest right off the bat by having him on the injury report.
So, Steven, if you're listening, what's up, man? I'm going to have to call another game for you when you're back in the squad.
So Guadarrama knocked away from him. You may notice that the field's got a little bit more wear than usual today, as there was a concert last night. 15,000 people were packed into Chuck Chansey Park. And I called a Chivas de Guadalajara game maybe 3 weeks ago where there were areas of the field that were completely torn up for the same reason, and that's one of the best stadiums on the planet. So
right.
Par for the course, it happens.
It happens everywhere, and I think you've played on worse pitches than this, right? This is not that bad in respect to, I'm sure, some of the fields that any of these players have played on. So it's just a game as normal. You take what you get, and it's not like the field's different from one team to the other.
Alex Cooper tosses in, knocks off a Darnell King. The move over from Tampa Bay. Back by Camden Feo. He's back into the starting order. Header from Cooper. Came down by Cesares. Guadarrama. And now Jose Escalante, who had some really good performances with RGV FC. Made 6 appearances with the Houston Dynamo these last few years.
Into the spectator area and be dangerous and cause serious injury.
Back to Ryan Felix, who played alongside Bradley Camden-Fayewo in Rochester recent years. Launched up the left-hand side, Mickey Daly. Knocks it away, if only for a moment. Guzman checking back. Elizondo got under that, and it's out of play.
It's a good initial run. An attack by San Antonio FC is they had 5 players there within the attacking third, throwing numbers forward, trying to figure out a way to break down the back line of Fresno FC early on. There's a little pocket of space opening up the back line for Fresno, dropping a little too much, and then right in front of them, right behind the midfield, there's this piece of space that San Antonio's found the ball in a couple times. We'll see how Fresno tries to counteract that, if Ribeiro drops back in a little bit, or what they do here in the oncoming minutes.
I think that's one of the stories, is where Pedro Ribeiro lines up, because where hasn't he lined up among the front 6 players in this Fresno FC team? And
how nice to have a player like that, that if someone else maybe plays a little bit better, you can throw him at the 6, at the 8, at the 10 even sometimes, and it gives you nice versatility going forward.
Johnson gives chase, Felix back. Diego Restrepo. It's Restrepo again. Restrepo nearly lost it. Not even the starter cap he's wearing is enough to keep the sun out of his eyes here.
Wow, Kafa almost got a gift there. And it looks like you can even see the team on this side. It's hard with the sun. Restrepo early on makes it look even more difficult.
Elizondo knocked away by Barrera. Johnson trying to find his way around. Well, dangerous there for Diego Restrepo, huh?
And this ball just skips over his left foot. He ends up getting a little toe on it the last minute to get away from Kafa, and that's not the player you want breathing down your neck in your 6-yard box.
And Rochandle able to finally get that out of harm's way. You know, once in a while on Twitter, you'll see certain items. I think Restrepo's hat would actually be a pretty good Twitter account. That's a thought. Just throwing it out there.
We'll see what happens here. Who's listening, right? Some cheeky guy on Twitter ready to go. Start that account. He'll get another shot at it.
That's a simpler maneuver that time, isn't it? Restrepo is one of the great stories in the United Soccer League last year, going from 3rd stringer to Golden Gloves, or maybe fluorescent yellow gloves, as it might be. The guy who watched the players out in front of him pick up injuries over the course of a year, and all of a sudden you're Johnny on the spot, and they only allow 24 goals all year. It was one of those special seasons defensively that would be nearly impossible to recreate. It's a nice move forward here, King. Sliding down, Pekka lost it. Ribeiro was trying to push ahead. Kafa, the leading ball that takes a skip up. This will be a corner for Fresno in the end.
And Kafa's looking for Verhoeven, and Verhoeven is the one who initiates that whole play. It's a good interception from him in the middle of the park, and then he just finds the playmaker and continues to break the line. Because of the pressure there from Verhoeven, the youngster, he earns a corner kick, and this is a good opportunity early. Into the sun. We've already seen Restrepo struggle with the sun a little bit, so we'll see what Fresno can do here.
Corner swinging in. Easy work on the first ball. Johnson knocks it ahead again, and it's well over from Mickey Daly.
I love that by Johnson, though. The ball comes to the top of the box. That's what you're there for, just to keep it in the mix. See if you can get another shot. Then Mickey Daly, if you're a center back, you're dreaming of those kind of goals. The ball's coming over top of your shoulder, looking for that volley over top. He just gets underneath it too much.
Back again for Rochandel. Racing through, Fresno trying to break up this passing from San Antonio. Escalante aiming up the left-hand channel.
That's really good defending by Fresno. They find a little funnel centrally. It gets played past the initial defender, and then there's 3 other players for Fresno that end up picking up the next ball exactly how they want that to play out. Just bring it down the end of the funnel, win the ball, and then go forward, end up earning a foul there, but good play from them early on.
Back for Rafa Castillo. Lofting over the top of the 18, came down to Ribeiro. Now maybe a little room here for Fresno. Danny Barrera. The overlap from Cooper. Up the line, Kaffa swings it along the top of the 18. Glancing aside, it's Barrera again. On the turn, Juan Pablo Kaffa. Cooper has runners down the middle of the field. Cooper swings it into Restrepo.
Select the official soccer ball of the USL.
And I like that early from Fresno because in the midweek game, it was a really high-paced game, unable to really get a lot of attack from their outside backs, get them involved, and right away, within the first 10 minutes, Cooper's in the attacking offensive third there, getting across in on goal. And that's what they like to see. That allows them to get more numbers in the box, get some more scoring opportunities.
That'll get out. Select is the official soccer ball of the United Soccer League. The latest Select products, special offers. You can visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders of $50 or more. I haven't seen a lot of Kyle Rainish yet tonight, which I think, on the whole, Fresno's okay with.
Yeah, a goal kick every now and then. I think they'll take that.
Castillo skies it in the air. Sares has his pocket picked. Now San Antonio getting forward. Ball crossed out in front. It was a touch, but not enough from Guzman to line that in on net.
That is such a tempting cross in the box. It's great work here, and then I think if you're Guzman, diving header, it's a lot easier for the ball to connect with your head than it is for your foot. Just dive for it. Go, you know, lay out there, because that ball was asking for it, and I think he had Rainish beat. With the run, he beat the defenders. Those are the little moments, you know, when you're, as that 9 central attacking forward, sometimes you need one thing to go your way, right? The connection to be perfect. The runs are there, the opportunities are there. It's just that extra little thing that he's missing.
Cooper serving, ricochets all the way through. Verhoeven gives chase. Verhoeven in on Cochran. Sends the cross over Johnson. Header bounces in lightly to Restrepo.
Verhoeven starting off really well this game. I liked what he did midweek. And this little shift right, he brings the ball to his left, and there's players in there. It's just, for me, I think it's the sun. You can't see where the ball is going to be, and it's one of those as a front runner, a striker in that situation. You have to expect the ball is going to make its way to you. You don't know what's going to happen, but if you have that ability, if you have that mindset, the ball is going to make it to me. Maybe you get that one in the back of the net.
And to your point, Noah Verhoeven playing just well enough that USLsoccer.com released a feature on him. Verhoeven rising to challenge with the Foxes. Played through for Juan Pablo Caffa. Caffa still going towards the goal line. It's cleared away by Cochran. And there's frustration because Ryan Felix went down in a dangerous spot.
And it's that little flick by Johnson. You gotta love that. Caffa doing everything he can to just get a little scoop up and over Restrepo. Well played by Cochran just to knock it out, allow his team to get back, organize for a corner kick.
Service is launched out of harm's way. Well, to your point, sometimes you just want to play to go your way. He literally fell forward and chested the ball toward the goal. If
Right.
that goes in, that's same boat.
Doesn't matter how it goes in, right? You still celebrate the same.
I wouldn't know, but you would, I think.
Yeah, I celebrated hard every goal.
Through ball brought down Guadarrama, stuck in the ground. Now a chance to counter for Fresno. Last year this was San Antonio's specialty. Verhoeven making his move. It's a good touch there by Pekka.
Gonna be hard to counter when San Antonio already dropped 6 players behind the ball. It was a good defensive play by them just to get numbers back. They saw the quick movement by Fresno trying to get in behind and outplayed them defensively.
Throw coming for the Foxes. We're more than a quarter of an hour in Fresno. Johnson shooting. That may have been on target. Restrepo was making his dive, and it's knocked over by Felix.
Jamal Johnson will have the Toyota corner kick.
And Jamal Johnson will take over. Spent time in the 2nd division in the United States previously, also over in Europe. Native of New Jersey. Spending the last 3 years in Jacksonville. Johnson, a lot of air under it. That's a corner.
Wow, that's impressive to keep that ball in play and then hit it off a defender to earn another corner kick. He had some serious hang time on that. Was it Cooper? Pretty nice there.
The corner, Johnson.
No, the header on the far post.
Cesares bounces down. Swung wide by Johnson. Verhoeven, here in goal line extended. Cochran touched it last. Another corner for Fresno.
And I like that mix-up of the corner kick, low and hard towards the front post, a little flick on the near post for Fresno. Just mixes it up a little. The previous 2 had gone high.
In swinging corner for Daly, bounced all the way through. And that did take a deflection. It's a throw for Fresno.
Yeah, and there was a little flick there. I just thought San Antonio didn't want to throw in deep in their end, which I wouldn't blame them.
Wonderful by Elizondo to strip that ball away. Guzman gives chase. Mickey Daly's up for that. Well, San Antonio's had the better of the ball through 18-plus minutes.
But those first 5 minutes, you got to think too, Mike. They were just swinging it around their back line. You know, this is possession here. Is it leading to anything for them? Maybe eventually, but right now they're just trying to see if they can open up Fresno, playing pretty compact, trying to limit these plays in between the lines.
Dangerous stuff here from Barrera.
Fans, remember to stay up to date with Fresno.
It'll be a free kick to San Antonio in the attacking half.
Get all match day information and don't forget to purchase your
Lucas Apala is the referee.
Latest news on all things Fresno FC at FresnoFC.com.
Just a tough challenge there. Barrera coming through, Elizondo. And it was a foul. It was a good call. I don't think anything malicious there.
Elizondo's dealt with some injuries last year and again and picked up a knock at the end of preseason. This is his first start of the season. Rafa Castillo, guy who can sit at the adults table, 37 years old. Castillo, well, if the sun were going the other way, that could have been a problem, but easy enough for Kyle Rainish.
Yeah, too much on it. I think he's trying to dip it in there, back far post where the 6 yard comes to a point, 6 yard box comes to a point, and to his defense though, there's no runners there. Maybe they saw early that it wasn't gonna hit its mark, but nonetheless, a little too much power on that one from Castillo.
Rishandel onto the left. Heavy touch. Kaffa's taking it away. Cutting back. Bounces by Verhoeven. Cesares. Now Barrera. Barrera lofting. We'll get this down to Kaffa. Kaffa crossing. Open header and falling away. Cesares did get a touch, but wasn't able to steer it back.
The ball to find Kaffa here. Couldn't have been any better. It dips in behind the back line, and then Kaffa just barely overhits that one over the top of Cesares' head. But that's a fun build-up by Fresno FC, showing a little class. Some varying in the movements, not just going straight to goal when they could have had a shot early on.
Lifted toward the penalty spot. Oh, Fresno is a team that's 9 goals through their opening 6 games. That's 5th in the league. They might sit in 9th at this early juncture on the table, but their offense has been good. It's just a couple goals against them at the wrong moment that's held them back in the early going.
I think it's one of the most interesting things about this Fresno squad is that they've scored a goal in every single game that they've played. And when you have new organizations in general, that's usually the last thing to click, is that ability to finish in the attacking third. So I think that's a really promising thing for them. If you're Coach Adam Smith, you got to tighten it up defensively.
Wonderful from Johnson, cutting it back. Corner again for Fresno. They've had all of these to this point.
Another Toyota corner kick.
Well, when the PA announcer says another Toyota corner kick. Johnson is driven to the near post. Clipped back. Johnson was in an onside position. Serves again. Punched up by Restrepo. Castillo. And now Escalante. Goes all the way to Camden Faywo. Cooper.
It's not bad from Fresno there. They're trying to stretch the back line, and it's picking up the second balls. If they're not going to win that first one, they'd be happy for that ball to go out of bounds and take a throw in from it. Because San Antonio, quick to drop, right? They don't want to give away too much space behind them.
Long distance ball that swerves into Restrepo. Hear exclusive stories directly from the USL's players in USLsoccer.com's From the Pitch, written and video content that provides unfiltered access and the first-person look into the professional game and players' everyday lives. Restrepo was featured in that series already to this point. He has taken off the baseball cap at this point.
Yeah, it came off a few minutes ago. I was thinking maybe it's going to go back on. We don't know yet.
With written and video content that provides unfiltered access and a first-person
lofted area. Shandel, the captain. Restrepo, a guy who started all 5 this year, a native of Venezuela, moving to the United States at the age of 11. And Virginia was the MVP of their College Cup run. And yet he just couldn't find his way to a starting role in the pro ranks until last year. And what a year it was. Cooper, Johnson, backing in. Johnson cutting it back again low. Johnson after it again. Out to midfield.
I feel like that happens a lot, though, in this league, Mike, is there a lot of teams with players who are on the bench just waiting for opportunities, really, and then do they come in and step up and use their opportunity to the best of their ability? And Restrepo definitely did that last year and continues to this year. The league is deep, is what I want to say. There's a lot of quality players.
Well, is there any position that's tougher to break in any league than goalkeeper?
I agree. It's so difficult, and you're never hoping for someone to get injured or have a bad game, but that's really the only 2 scenarios that you can really break in and change that spot up.
Alongside former NWSL stalwart Jordan Angeli, Mike Watts with you tonight. Sunday evening soccer in the USL to close out the week. Fresno and San Antonio scoreless. Will they be in a moment's time? A deflection. It's kept alive for San Antonio for the moment. Cochran can't hang on. Dangerous challenge by Pekka from in behind. Verhoeven slow to his feet.
Yeah, that was a heavy challenge by Pekka. Comes in and just chomps at the legs of Verhoeven. Gets a warning and probably lucky to get off with just that. But he's also seen what Verhoeven has been able to do when he gets space in front of him, turns, and is dribbling at the back line. So Pekka, with his experience, is probably not wanting that at all. Just breaks it up early.
That's too strong for Cooper.
Fresno FC 2018 mini plans are still available with 3 options to choose from, creating the best fit for your needs. For more information,
Darnell King moved to the right back position. Got to learn from one of the best this league, Tam McCandawary, one of the more wily veterans for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Guy who's only getting better as he goes along. 27 years old out of FAU. Taken away, wonderful from Ribeiro. Ribeiro on the cutback, plays it out in front for Johnson. One touch, he slides it back. Still alive, shot, twisting. And Kaffa lines it into Restrepo.
Kaffa with a change up there. You thought he was going to go with power. He ends up scooping it, just falling away. You know, a little baseball terminology. I'm trying.
That's fantastic. The changeup, and you're right.
It was.
Yeah.
No, not a strike though.
This will get too far. Throw on the way for Beto Navarro, former Fresno Fuego guy. Ribeiro, Kaffa. Fresno moving forward again. Placed in behind, and Castillo knocks that out for a corner.
Interesting decision there. He wasn't under pressure. Wonder why he thought that that was the best way to go. Now his team has to defend yet another corner kick instead of playing it out wide and giving him a throw-in.
Toyota corner kick.
Well, Fresno hasn't done nearly enough with their first 7 corners. Swinging in, popped up, and Restrepo's on it.
That's the first time I saw Ribeiro in there really trying to mix it up on the corner, and with his height and his ability to head the ball, you would think that would be your main target.
Down goes Johnson. Well, that is a free kick, and Cooper plays quick. Why not? Is San Antonio a little bit out of sorts here? Lofted by Johnson, bouncing by Cochran. Kept in Verhoeven. But Cochran moving ahead.
Not enough movement in the middle of the field for San Antonio to try to get the ball and break down in between the lines. Here's Pekka getting it, but when they're switching the point of attack, there has to be more quick bursts of speed, trying to get into those little pockets, because it's going to take, and then facing and turning instead of playing just back. Can you get on the half turn and see if you can find the furthest player upfield? Where is Guzman? And then get your other attacking midfielders in off of him.
We're in the 32nd minute here. San Antonio and Fresno scoreless. You see Darren Powell there, and while we do have a moment, his dad's suffering from Parkinson's disease. It was announced over these last couple weeks that they're going to do a run with Darren, a series of 5Ks, 5 over the summer here, to try and raise money for Parkinson's disease. Preston Petrie, who's the great PR guy for San Antonio, helping to create opportunities for fans to get involved as there's a collision inside the 18. And Rainish picking up. This is a clean play. But it's important that the USL family comes together in situations like this. It's wonderful to see that fans and players and coaches have all rallied around Darren. You can find out more over on San Antonio FC's website. Well, Darren Powell, San Antonio FC, trying to go on the road here. Find a winning result. Last year away from home, remarkably, 9 wins in 16 games, 4 losses, 3 draws. It's a group that more often than not found their goal Found a way to shut out the opposition, too, giving up about 3/4 of a goal a game the course of the season. Player down behind the play.
Want a behind-the-scenes look at Fresno FC?
And it's Ribeiro.
On social media at FFC Foxes on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
There's Adam Smith.
That's FFC Foxes on all social media platforms.
And some guys over from Sacramento building this roster up for Fresno Football Club in their first season, along with Fresno general manager Frank Yallop. And to this point, he's found a lot of answers to the questions he had at the outset of the year. First clearance not convincing, the second is.
Mike, you talk about those answers to questions, and a lot of that has to do with he finds the answers in who's attacking, right, and going forward and scoring goals. But how do Fresno tighten it up defensively? What do they need to really build this team and make sure that if they're going to give up a goal, it's not these late goals? I think there's some aspect of leadership that's maybe missing in the back to help this team stay calm and cool in those moments, like a Wednesday night when, you know, the point slipped away from them.
You think back to that game and you lose Ramon Martin Del Campo, your star center back, in the final 3 minutes. How do you respond? This is Cooper. Swings that out of play. And is there anything more difficult than having the signal caller drop out of a game in the final 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's difficult. He leads by example, with communication, everything. To lose that player and then have to shift other players around. Coach Smith was saying, you know, it's a little bit of a scramble there. Who's going to fill in? So it's difficult, but you have to have someone that's willing also to step up and take those responsibilities in the moment and say, you know, okay, we lose someone, but I'm going to lead now.
Escalante a bit more defensively in tune, slowing that up the right-hand side, and yet Fresno continuing on. That's a foul. Well, the crowd's not in tune with the referee's decision. Neither is Adam Smith, is he?
It looked like a well-drawn foul to me by Ryan Rashandel there. You know, when you're the captain and you've had experience, you see that tackle coming, and
boy, this is all the way back for Restrepo. That's a deep inhale, Jordan.
I did. I thought that was going straight in. And that's Rashandel there, earning the free kick, and then San Antonio just not taking care of the ball. I think there's been opportunities in this first half where they can just slow it down and keep the ball and see if they can stretch Fresno out a little bit, but they haven't been able to.
Ribeiro finally taken away. Now Castillo. Guzman in that behind Guadarrama. But now King. Downshifting for Castillo. Up the right-hand side for Elizondo. Wow, what a play there by Barrera to bring it down. Now Barrera is out in front, gets it from Johnson. Barrera looking for Johnson. Johnson has it deflect right back. Little miscommunication. Johnson seeking out Cooper.
Just little moments of class from Johnson that kind of separate him from everyone else there. The ball comes back out to him. He takes 3 juggles in the air just to get it back down, makes it look easy. Fresno going forward there, that was promising. Players around the ball. Johnson not getting the shot off that he would have liked in that small window that he had, but you got to like the way that they're going forward as a unit right now.
Another turnover, this by Castillo. Ribeiro is out in front. Kaffa got a touch. Now Ribeiro! Woo, that was almost part 2.
Man, I don't know if I could have handled that if he scored another one like that. That was so close. The ball pops out to you like that on that half volley. You're always thinking it's going to fly off your foot better than it does, but if you're Ribeiro, that's a pretty good rip from distance.
That's a couple feet closer to the post. We're talking about Sports Center top 10 twice in a week.
Yeah, what do you get? Do you get some special award if you get that? Jeez.
The old Raise Your Game award here in the USL. Oh, Ribeiro stuck in there again. It's leading ball too much for Johnson. Knocked out by Camden Faywell.
Here's a ball that comes out. And that did not miss by a lot. I mean, he struck that perfectly. A short swing. He's coming over top the ball. I guess he's pretty good at that technique.
It's a nice through ball here. Cooper. Been a couple moments that have made the USL tricks and skills video, I think.
Right, that scoop over his foot right there. I can think of 3 in the last 3 minutes that have been pretty nice.
Or Shandel. Castillo, rather. Guzman. Castillo. Lifted through and handled by Rainish. That's a pinpoint ball out to midfield.
It's a really good throw, and he beats a whole line of defense. It gets slowed down there. San Antonio had thrown so many numbers forward. It was a good play by Rainish to see if he could counter quickly.
Foul at the halfway line, and well, that's a good one from Barrera, eh?
Yeah, it was like a go-go gadget leg. You didn't think he was going to get there, and then all of a sudden, he brings it down so softly.
Go-go gadget pillow.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the latest in Fresno FC merchandise at FresnoFC.com.
Camden Faywell. Again from Barrera. Barrera. Cooper. Couple steps in. Drives the cross. Header. Steered aside by Kaffa. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date. News, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. You can follow along at USL on Twitter. Restrepo takes over again here. San Antonio coming off a 3-0 loss against Orange County. That was not representative, in their opinion, how that game went. 4th highest shot total in franchise history, and they couldn't get one by. A fantastic goal by Hashimoto on a free kick. Made goal of the week finalist. And 2 late goals with the game stretched wide open for San Antonio's opponent, Orange County. This ball played through to the byline. Chance to serve across, too high for Elizondo. Now King takes it away, lays it off. Guadarrama circles, serves, headed down to Verhoeven. Johnson has 2 runners. Barrera's looking to throw. He thought that King had touched it last. Guadarrama and Elizondo not on the same page. Pedro Ribeiro. Pekka went high, King went low. Ribeiro draws the foul.
He's just trying to split the defenders. I think in the end, maybe a good little play there just to deny him any space in between the lines, because Ribeiro's been doing a lot for Fresno already this game.
Hit hard, and ricochets over from Kaffa. And we've seen this movie before, another corner coming for Fresno. 9 corners in the opening 44+ minutes now for the Foxes. Johnson, header is just wide.
This is their best opportunity yet from a corner. It goes into a dangerous spot. It tempts, you can see Restrepo just tempted to come out. And then the header missing inches wide. It's one of those you just gotta, almost, it's coming in with so much pace. You gotta more place it than put any more power on it. And I think it got a little switched there.
We're into first half stoppage time. We'll have 1 minute added. Coming up at halftime, we'll show you some of the big goals you may have missed yesterday on ESPN+. Take a look ahead to the upcoming midweek schedule around the USL, including the USL Game of the Week on Friday that includes San Antonio FC on the road to El Chalice's Las Vegas Lights. Think about Fresno. They gave up 3 in that opener to Las Vegas. They've given up 4 since. Vegas is going to make things interesting for everybody this year. Well, this is Castillo. This is where he's most dangerous. Castillo! And that fly too far. And we've reached halftime. Well, San Antonio on the road has done well to keep Fresno off the board. Fresno's had their chances.
I think San Antonio doing a good job there, staying compact defensively. Going forward, they got to work in between the lines. Who's playing up off the front too? If you're Fresno, I think happy with the way that you're moving forward and going together as a unit and keeping San Antonio contained on the counterattack.
Well, we'll show you the first half highlights and stats coming up, as well as mentioned, a look around the USL's top fixtures from a day ago as the players march off of Chuck Chansey Park. Players arriving, fans already in their seats in Fresno. But there's no goals yet. Scoreless at halftime.
And now we're going to send it.
Halftime between Fresno FC and San Antonio FC. Game one of what will be a two-game series over the next 2 weeks between these two sides. Part of a new 2-year broadcast agreement with ESPN Plus. You can see every game in the USL on ESPN platforms. Let's take you through some of the best goals you may have missed from the weekend that was. How about Georgi Hristov? Joe Cole calls him a legend. He scores, and it's his 57th all-time for the Rowdies, tying their all-time record as they knock off Real Monarchs in one of those rare interleague matchups, 2-0. We move out to Phoenix, and in the desert, it's a rematch from the 2017 Western Conference quarterfinal. Carlton Belmar was injured just minutes earlier. He had already scored one. He's going to score a second. He gets by Mike DeFont, and he puts it in the back of the net in the 88th minute. And why not pick up a yellow card, right? You just took 3 points away from a team that you saw in the playoffs last year. Or did they? Move forward 2 minutes. Billy Forbes in the center of the action, former MVP candidate for San Antonio FC. And it's Solomon Asante on the assist from Forbes in the 90th minute. There will be no win tonight. It finishes 2-2 as the lead jockeying back and forth down the stretch. Let's go to the Rose City. Portland Timbers 2 taking on Reno 1868. Danny Masovsky scores his second goal of the game. He's on loan from San Jose, former UNLV guy, and Portland falls to Reno 2-1 in a game that Reno desperately needed. And so while in the East it was all about the records, in the West it was the kind of action that keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish, as Reno able to pick up some of their form that they had when they made the playoffs in 2017. Here's some of the best storylines from the weekend that was. Georgi Hristov with goal number 57, tying a record that's been over a quarter of a century in the making, and then all the drama and exciting play in the Western Conference down the stretch. How about a look at some of the upcoming games in midweek around the United Soccer League? And Atlanta United 2 coming off a 1-1 draw against the defending league champion Louisville City FC. In action again, a regional rivalry. First time they'll see the Charleston Battery. It's Tuesday at 4 p.m. starting the slate. Orange County has had a wonderful start to the season in Southern California. They take on RGV FC on Wednesday night. And on Friday, out on the West Coast, Las Vegas Lights FC at Cashman Field taking on this San Antonio FC side. You never know what's going to happen at Cashman Field. That's on ESPN3. Plenty more to come here from the Chuck in Fresno. We're at halftime between San Antonio FC and Fresno FC.
Welcome to the 4th episode of The Breakdown. Once again, I've handpicked my plays of the week, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Ball sent in. Crossed away. Team save. Keeps it 1-0.
This clip is both attacking and defensive. You see on the Orange County counter-attack here, he does extremely well to carry his run forward, and he gives the defense of San Antonio a lot of problems. And then if you flip it now and you look at his recovery run, is fantastic. You know, he tracks the immediate run of the attacker, and then he follows it through and continues to back up his keeper on the line. And it's a fantastic goal line clearance, and it keeps them in the game after 60 minutes.
Opie out. Back to Sari. Chip toward the back post. Fields take him, and an early goal for S2.
The reason I've picked this clip is not just the finish and the header, but also if you watch Sari's assist. He backs up his winger here, and he creates himself an extremely good angle to give that cross. And technically it's an extremely tough pass to make. When the ball's coming at you and you've got to give a 90-degree angle on it and cross it at the back post, it's extremely difficult because you have to think about all sorts at that stage. You have to think about the keeper coming to catch it, but then also giving the loft to get it over the defender and down. And it's a fantastic assist, and that's the reason it's in my play of the week.
For O-line, Von Williams. Stepped up, his number was called. Look at this, perfectly timed. It's Sunni Saad. Saad lines him up.
Sunni Saad's goal for Indy 11, for me, was created purely by Iose's pass here. When the ball's played into Iose, he takes a couple steps back, and that gives him the opportunity to get his head up and see Saad's movement. And it's a fantastic driven pass over the defense, and it's a fantastic finish into the corner with good disguise.
Stability in terms of paying so that players from the Caribbean, players from South America.
This clip is one of my favorite ones. The athletic trainer for St. Louis, is just so casual with it. I mean, he takes it out the air one-handed as if he's not done anything about it. And, you know, he's caught it and throw back, just dead casual. And I think he's amazed every single player on the bench, including all his players. So as you can see from the breakdown this week, it's not just players that get on, it's also athletic trainers. So keep that in mind for future games. I hope you've enjoyed my hand-picked plays from the week on the 4th episode of the Breakdown. I look forward to seeing you next week.
How do we make the Breakdown? I haven't quite figured out how we make it for next week.
I guess we have to have some good play, and I'm trying to think how we're going to do that here.
We'll try and figure that out. We're at halftime here between Fresno and San Antonio FC as we take a look at some of the key players from the USL's week that was, the USL Team of the Week. And it was, well, it was an up-tempo week around the league. Some fantastic goal-scoring exploits and exciting play, to say the least. As your Team of the Week includes Suni Saad. You saw that nice goal in that Goal of the Week package. Pretty nice.
Yeah, I think no-brainer there. He not only that goal, he had another goal too, and both of them beauties. So he well earned that Player of the Week and Team of the Week.
And that Player of the Week, Team of the Week nomination for Rolls at Orange County, in part because of his 8 saves against San Antonio FC. So he's still being cursed by the SAFC fans. It's halftime here in Fresno. We've got a lot more coming up, highlights and stats from Chuck Chancey Park after this. Looking live at Chuck Chancey Park in Central California, Central Valley, Fresno playing host to San Antonio FC on this Sunday, one of 2 games ongoing in the USL. How about we take a look back at our first half highlights from this affair, as this is a game where San Antonio had more of the possession, and some of the bigger issues for San Antonio were made by their own mistakes. Kaffa nearly taking advantage here.
And this was just inches away from getting a little toe deflection in the back of the net.
Moving forward, that off of the toe of Ever Guzman. One of the better chances out in front of the net. Barrera steering this on frame.
And a lot of opportunities for Fresno FC here. Kaffa nearly chests that one into the goal. It led to, I think, our 3rd of 8 corner kicks in the first half for Fresno. They were just peppering the goal, trying to figure something out. But you got to credit San Antonio. They were there defending, getting it out of danger every single time.
We see Ribeiro slipping it through. Johnson having this cut across. The final effort from Kaffa, a changeup.
It was a changeup. You think he's going to go with power. Thought maybe I could chip it there.
Well, that's power.
We thought we were getting a sequel to what we saw before from Ribeiro there. Misses just by inches.
And then this effort is headed down and wide. Good look for Navarro. He wasn't able to cash in, and Castillo right at the death at the end of the opening half. Here are the halftime statistics. And, well, a ton of corners for Fresno, and they've got a lot more shots. San Antonio hasn't tested Kyle Rainish yet, but the top line is even.
And that's all that really matters. You know, possession is 60-40 in favor of San Antonio, but we spoke about this a little bit in the first half, is that the possession was not purposeful for San Antonio. They're keeping it, but they're not breaking a line and figuring out how to get past a big block of defenders to help themselves go forward. I think for Fresno, their possession has been much more deliberate. They are getting forward. They're getting forward with numbers. They're allowing their outside backs to join the game. We saw Navarro there with the header late in the half. Cooper got into the attack a few times. So Fresno is really knocking at the door, trying to see if they can get one in the back of the net.
You see Navarro and Barrera trying to get stretched out for this second half of play. This one of 2 games ongoing in the USL. LA Galaxy 2 is looking for their first win of the year. At home taking on New York Red Bulls 2 in one of those intra-league matchups. Ulysses Yanez, the youngster, has the lone goal in that game for Galaxy 2. And you think about Fresno right now, Adam Smith asking for that little bit extra there from his players on his way off the field. You have to be okay with where Fresno's at. 9 corners in that first half, but they need to find a way to be a little more clinical. That's something San Antonio has been trying to do all year.
And clinical even on those corner kicks, maybe giving some different looks. Their last corner sent in to the box, I think their best opportunity off a corner kick from Navarro there with the header, but can you play something short? Can you try to pull San Antonio out a little bit? Yeah, it's a free ball into the box, but if it's not working time and time again, you might have to switch it up a little bit.
Well, the fans trying to enjoy what will be the last Fresno home game for a little while. They started with 5 of 7 here at Chuck Chancey Park. It was a good way to open up the franchise, but now they'll go on the road at Didier Drogba in Phoenix on the 28th, and then at San Antonio on May the 5th before returning home for a midweek game. Take on Rio Grande Valley FC on the 9th of May. So they're trying to leave a good lasting imprint here. Kaffa knocks it ahead. We're into the second half with Jordan Angeli alongside Mike Watts with you on this Sunday in the United Soccer League, Week 6. Fresno and San Antonio scoreless just out of halftime. Schandl. There's Cochran. Iron Man in year number 1 of San Antonio's history. At times it's tough to tell if this is just the way San Antonio wants to play or if they just aren't getting the movement they want from their front players, Jordan.
And I think that was a good example right there, is they get the ball centrally, could have 1-2'd from the play off of Cochran, instead decide to go back, and now they've pinned themselves in their defensive third and they can't get out. I think it has to be an earlier look. Can you continue momentum going forward? But what are the front runners doing? Are they finding those pockets of space in between lines, not only from the midfield to the back line, but in between horizontal lines too, right? Or where are they between the midfielders themselves? So I think just a little bit more movement from San Antonio up top will help them connect going forward.
Ball for Johnson. Slide from Johnson in the 18. Wasn't able to take it back, and now San Antonio off a nice move by Escalante. This is a guy with a real electric feel when he gets moving with the ball at his feet. Navarro struggling to get away. There were times where Escalante looked like the best player attacking-wise on the wing in the Western Conference at RGV. Got signed on to Houston. He was on loan from Olympia in Honduras. And he's still trying to kind of re-find that consistent electricity to his game.
Yeah, but you saw that there. That was a good run by him.
Kaffa, right-footed ball. Popped up, Verhoeven is after it. Ribeiro. Johnson. Pops up off of Felix. Spins down to Restrepo.
Felix and Rashandel there. It's been a couple times now where Johnson just finds himself in between the two center backs. I think the two of them have to communicate a little bit better. Who's going to stay with him or tempt the ball to get played into Johnson and then slide in and defend him a little bit closer, because he's had the opportunity to turn and either distribute or have a shot on goal. And Johnson's not going to get a lot of those chances and miss them often, right?
Comes down to King. Throw here for Fresno. Johnson with a team-leading 2 goals for Fresno. Both teams, their goal scoring pretty well spread out.
Fans, remember to grab your favorite El Mexicano cheese at your nearest grocery store to add to any of your
San Antonio sitting on just 4 goals all year. Pekka and Tierpak, 1 each. Mikey Lopez with a pair. Boy, here comes Ribeiro. Nearly took it off. Well, now danger. It's through. Johnson's after it. Restrepo has had a couple near nightmares.
Yeah, Restrepo, yes, but play him this ball outside of his box, so then if he takes a touch wide, it's not in danger. I think his team not really setting him up there. That looked like it could have been a handball by somebody. I couldn't tell which player was on the ground there, but maybe got away with that one there for San Antonio, or 2, because that initial touch from Restrepo too. But I think they play him the ball too often, and those are the moments where I think they're just pinning themselves back. I get you want to play out of the back, but you're conceding so much pressure. Just relieve it a little bit sometimes too.
Pushing and shoving from Elizondo. Ricochets up. Cooper giving chase. That's clean from Elizondo. Pekka. Pinged back again. Fry Guzman. Now Guzman's taking it away. Chance for San Antonio. Guadarrama in for Rainish. First shot on target all game for San Antonio. And Castillo commits a foul. Oh, Juan Pablo Caffa, like an elephant, doesn't forget.
This is a good, quick transition. And Guadarrama, I think it's a good shot, maybe a little bit more across the face of goal, but I think he has the ability to continue there, to take a longer first touch, see if he can get behind the back line. And it was on the other side. He gets an entry ball, and then he plays all the way back to Pekka again. I think for him, it might just be taking an extra touch, realizing that he might have a little bit ability to slow down in moments and allow the game to come to him.
Castillo is fouled by Caffa, which appears to be a little tit for tat.
But if you're Coach Adam Smith, you're remembering the last game at home, it was clean for most of the game, and then later on, you know, it was one foul that really turned the team loose. You get a red card, everything has to change because you have to shift players around. So you're reminding your team, stay smart here, especially a player like Caffa. He's experienced, he should know that. They can't afford to go down another experienced player here early on in the season.
They're without Raul Martin Del Campo today due to red card suspension. Sent off in the final 10 minutes against Tulsa, and that's just when the going got good. Jan Baquero from Chicago on loan to Tulsa, coming up with the 90th minute goal that robbed Fresno of 2 points late. Restrepo. You think about San Antonio, they're sitting on about 8-9% conversion rate. It's just too low, but it never lasts down there. Very few teams end up under that 10% mark, especially when you have known commodities of goal scorers. There's a free kick coming.
And I think it's one of those, you know, soccer is a game where you get one in and it's like the floodgates open, and that might happen for San Antonio. They have the potential to score a lot of goals. They have goal scorers. They have a couple sitting on their bench in Lopez and Tierpak. And I think for them, though, in order to score more goals, they need to get more people in the attack. It's get it into the front runners, but who's coming in behind them in the midfield to allow them to then slip the little balls through to those three up front.
Well, that's the run of plays. There's something to be had here on this set piece. Castillo drives off of Camden Fayewo. Overhead kick. Find Cochran. Rainish lets this fly by. Well, players up and at 'em right now for San Antonio. It's a team, only those 4 goals scored this year. They weren't exactly high scoring last year. They didn't hit the 50 mark despite making the playoffs through 32 games. It was about how great their defense was. They lost Billy Forbes, who had that phenomenal start to the season, but really hit the midsummer blues. And of course, those who haven't seen San Antonio before, we mentioned that Stephen McCarthy is out right now with a lower body injury. Sebastian Ibiaga was the Defensive Player of the Year in the USL last year. Ended up with New York City FC, where he's playing alongside the superstars in New York. So this is a totally retooled defense for San Antonio.
And although Fresno has had some good opportunities, it's not for lack of poor defending for San Antonio. I think they've done a pretty good job of dropping in and keeping it contained.
Verhoeven did get that service in. Throw coming.
And they're not afraid to do that. Just clear the ball out of danger, reset, get numbers behind the ball. You know, maybe offensively they try to play out a little too much in certain situations, but they keep it pretty clean defensively.
Navarro, long throw. Hopped up for Shandel. Turned over, Barrera. Slicing to the left. Kaffa deflects. It's caught at the post by Restrepo. Not too quick for his own good. Got under Guadarrama. That's sort of the San Antonio way at this present moment. If you're possessing in the back and you get the ball, a chance to get forward against this Fresno team that you've kept off the board, you want to move quick.
Yeah, because Fresno's sending their outside backs forward as much as they possibly can. So you're hoping that you can go quick and use your numbers to your advantage, usually 3-on-3 if they go quick enough. But they just haven't been able to connect. It's not the outlet pass has been pretty good. It's that next pass. Who are they getting the next ball to? And can San Antonio find the right decision in those moments?
Camden Fayewo going up the left-hand side. This will come to Juan Pablo Kaffa. Kaffa playing it through. Is Johnson onside? Yes. Played back. Now the flag's up. Well, it was a nice interchange if Johnson's just a couple feet further behind that line.
To be expected. You come back in off of a couple days out, and you're going to flirt with that back line. You're going to run offside a few times.
Navarro deflects. Shandel does well. Oh, clever stuff from Ribeiro. And then a wonderful sliding challenge for San Antonio. Guadarrama leveling off at the halfway line. Ball finds Escalante. Comes back out to Beto Navarro.
That initial ball in by Escalante didn't miss by much. I think 3 feet behind the defender is a little bit more, and that would have been the money ball there. She's just trying to tease it in between the back line and the goalkeeper, see if anybody can just get a little toe poke or a shin, a thigh. It doesn't matter at that point. Everybody's running towards the goal. It's exactly where you want to send it as a wide player.
The race is on for Fresno into this open space. Juan Pablo Caffa. Darnell King covered a ton of ground to make up for it. Throw into Cooper. And it's a foul and a free kick in favor of Fresno.
I think it's a good call. Initially, King there in the right place. Just overplays it a little too much, and Fresno does what they have to do to earn a free kick deep in their own attacking third. If this is whipped in correctly, it's nice to have a left-footed player on this. Can they play it in with an oncoming run, a player like Caffa? You have Ribeiro in there too, good in the air.
Free kick for Fresno. Lofted out by Rochandel. Out to Cesares. Camden Fawo. Cooper. That blasted all the way downfield. The race is on. Camden Fawo. Did he head that over his own byline? That should make the Blake down. That's a wonderful slap over across the touchline.
Right, keep it out from going out for a corner.
Kyle Rainish getting down to make that work. Do you want to get exclusive video content photography from across the United Soccer League? You can make sure to follow the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer. Too high for Cochran. How about Matt Cardoni's beard there, number 0. Standing in front of Navarro.
I mean, that's epic. The hair-beard combo is just second to none.
We've been calling Matt Pickens the general over in Nashville, the former Rowdies guy. He was in Colorado for a while.
He was at the Rapids for a bit.
Was there when they won MLS Cup. But I don't know. That's something special. Escalante slides in, comes to Noah Verhoeven. Jamal Johnson slid in as well, and he went in hard on Escalante. There's going to be a yellow card.
That looked tricky. They both look like they went in hard. Both kind of left their feet. Escalante there looking like he got the worst of it, but I'd like to see, you know, if we see another look at this. They both kind of come up, both sliding for the ball. Yeah, I think Escalante gets the worst of it, but they're both going in the exact same way. Yellow card. I don't know. Foul.
That's inspiring.
Sure. I just don't think it is. If Escalante is on his feet, or if he's not also left his feet diving in and sliding in that same way, then of course, yes, a yellow card the way that Johnson came in. But I think they're both doing the same thing. They're both just trying to help it on and get it back to their team. Could have gone either way.
Yellow card to Johnson, and for Escalante does not need to leave the field because that was a foul deemed worthy of a yellow card. Rounding the corner. Ball for Escalante. Shows well to pick this up. Goes through the legs of Navarro. Sends the service, headed down and over the crossbar on the bounce. Looked like Pekka on the back post arriving. Beg your pardon, Elizondo. Verhoeven. Navarro. Serving. Wonderful ball. What a save by Restrepo. Kaffa had that inside the post. Restrepo knocked it aside.
What a minute of soccer there from one end to the other. I think the best chance for San Antonio on the far end, and then this teasing ball in. Kaffa is just ready for it. He's standing there waiting. Thought he does enough to beat Restrepo, but it's a good diving save. The keeper keeps it out with a strong right hand. That's the kind of save he wants to be making, not those ones with his feet that he had to make in the first half.
A throw coming for Fresno. That by far the best look for either side in this match. Here's Jamal Johnson. Both his goals this year have come in the final 20 minutes of games. Always seems like there's some late drama here at the Chuck. Johnson chests this ahead. It got under the foot of Kaffa. Kaffa coming in still. Now Restrepo lobs it away. Flag was up for offside.
It's not surprising, too. You mentioned late drama, and it's, to me, it doesn't surprise me with the way that teams play against Fresno, right? They're trying to, it's a new franchise. They're trying to come after them, break them up early, but that can tire you out. And then at the end of the games, how are you finishing the game? So I think Fresno themselves have had a difficult time trying to do that, but it also opens up some stuff for them offensively. Can they get after teams as they've tired out attacking throughout the course of 70 minutes and try to get some late goals?
We are contractually obligated to say that, right?
Rainish. Flag is up here from the referee on the near side. The Zorros and San Antonio. First ever meeting between the franchises. They'll meet again on May the 5th at Toyota Field, one of the real gems of the soccer stadiums in the USL's Western Conference. Ribeiro ready to go here. Both teams will play again before that. San Antonio away to Las Vegas. Not entirely sure how their style matches with the way Las Vegas plays. That's going to be worth the price of admission on Friday night on ESPN3. Fresno taking on Phoenix Rising. Chance to serve here. Bouncing ball, stepping in front, Verhoeven. Popped up. It's caught by Restrepo.
It ended up being a really smart play by San Antonio. You know, it either goes out for a corner kick or you head it back, and your goalkeeper has an opportunity to bring it in and regain possession. But Verhoeven he's tricky. He finds these little gaps when he's on the ball there. He almost snuck in and stole one off the San Antonio back line. I think he's just a player you have to keep a closer eye on because he has the ability to just be tricky and sneak in last second, make something happen.
Cesar Elizondo shooting. Save Rainish. Well, he just kept coming and finally laid into it.
And you might as well. If you're not getting pressured, the back line continues to drop. Take a crack at it. You can see it dipping there, it bouncing. Elizondo trying to get it to bounce at the right time. Maybe pop up and cause trouble for Ramish. But in the end, the experienced goalkeeper saw it all the way in.
Elsewhere, New York and Los Angeles. Twos, of course, finish 1-1 at full time. Out of the StubHub Center, Yanez in the 35th for Galaxy 2. Red Bulls to respond. Mondo Moreno in the 78th. Verhoeven. Verhoeven serving. Got it down by Ribeiro. Verhoeven again, he's been everywhere today. Navarro serving, falling away. It's on frame from Kaffa.
Kaffa falling away from that one. Couldn't see who was behind him, but expected it to come to him. Looked like he was going to try to side volley it. These are good balls into the box. The early cross has been fairly, it's worked fairly well for Fresno, but I think there's an opportunity to fake that early cross because they've been doing it so often. Get to the end line and then you cut the ball back. You have runners. The ball's coming across. It's hard to defend that from San Antonio if you play it low across on the ground. You just got to mix it up a little bit if you're Fresno.
Johnson, early ball caught by Restrepo. San Antonio's got a couple of shots on target in the second half. Fresno continuing to pepper Diego Restrepo. Castillo switches the point. Cochran. Cochran making his run, cutting inside, just enough for Mickey Daly. Getting to the point where these coaches may start thinking about substitutes.
Behind section 119 today to get your Zorros gear. Fresno FC kits and Adidas collection are in stock. Check out the latest in Fresno FC merchandise at FresnoFC.com.
Foul by Daly. Squadarama, who went down. There's a great story about him in the San Antonio Express News about thinking about taking a hiatus, a break from soccer. He got that itch to play again. And at the age of 31, returning it, all of a sudden pops up. News story mid-February, signs with San Antonio FC.
So you're telling me I still have a chance?
So you're saying there's a chance. Castillo to the back post. Headed out of play, a goal kick. How you keep in contact with some of those NWSL coaches? You could make your return.
Some of them have said they've always wanted to coach me, but I don't think they want to coach me in this form.
Fresno's waiting to make their first move. Rashandel. Kaffa. Well, it's taken, if only for a moment. Now a chance to get ahead. Pekka. Plays it wide. Escalante. Escalante in on Navarro. Bounces off. And a goal kick. change on the way for Fresno. Rodolfo will come on. Zillion they've got so much excitement for. Noah Verhoeven is off. And I don't think Noah Verhoeven did anything to change your opinion of what you saw of him midweek.
No, I'm impressed by the youngster Verhoeven. He got after San Antonio. I think just a possession-wise, Fresno not able to link him in as much as he wanted to. And, you know, Rodolfo, it's a good player to bring in off the bench, has the ability to score and hold the ball up for Fresno.
Pings back to Escalante. Just get around Johnson. Rolled through Kaffa. Strong challenge by Pekka. Play on. Played on the ground by Kaffa. Knocked away from Rodolfo. Johnson. Cesaris. Ribeiro successfully finds the left channel. Cooper lofting, headed back across. Comes out, top of the 18, shot is wide from Cesaris.
Foxes fans, make some noise!
It was a great build-up by Fresno FC. They bring it from the right side, switch it all the way to the left, and then that cross ball early. And it's not just that, Mike, it's the header back across. A lot of people will try to go for goal there, but as every player is shifting to their left for San Antonio FC, that ball back across is just dangerous. It's hard to track runners in the box.
Elizondo is done. Connor Presley replaces him, the native of Austin, Texas. And Tierpak comes on, replacing Sonny Guadarrama. Well, I got to be honest, we were a little disappointed when we didn't see Chris Tierpak in the starting lineup.
Especially, you know, having a goal with a San Antonio team who is lacking the ability to score right now. I think maybe this is a good time for him to come in, playing against a Fresno FC team who had a midweek game. Can you provide a little bit of spark here in the last 15 minutes and help your team get one on the board?
That's a yellow card to Darnell King. It's his third of the year.
Substitution, San Antonio FC. Coming in, Connor Presley. Coming out, Cesar Elizondo. Second substitution for San Antonio FC. Coming out, number 33, Sonny Guadarrama. Coming in, Chris Tierpak.
Barrera. Headed up by Navarro. Castillo got a touch. Kaffa lofts. Header! Knocked over by Restrepo. He got just enough. It's a corner on the way for Fresno.
Will take a Toyota corner kick.
And you think Kaffa's just sending this ball back in blind as it gets cleared out here by Castillo, but he knows his player is in the mix there. But this save by Restrepo couldn't have been any better. He times it right. He just pushes it over the top of the bar. And Mickey Daly in the right place, the center back, trying to get on the scoreboard, but not in Restrepo's house.
Swung in Johnson. Restrepo got a touch to that. Oh, it's a collision. Escalante is down. Cooper waving his hands at the AR here. Well, that was a really nice look from Mickey Daly there a moment ago. Guy who's bounced all around in the USL for whatever reason, because he's played well wherever he's gone. Won the title with Sacramento in 2014, number 5, Fresno Blue.
Yellow card.
It is a yellow card. First thought's Alex Cooper, but we'll see if that holds true to form. He was the one who committed that foul. Indeed, Cooper picks up the yellow. Here's Tierpak. Comes through for Presley. Seeking out Ever Guzman.
That's a little spark there for San Antonio FC. Both Presley and Tierpak, their first touches on the ball, they're dynamic. They figure out a way to try to get in behind. They enter corner kick. This is a good spot to be sitting. They have Rashandel up. He has the ability to get on the end of this. I would see him as a big target for them off the corner.
Castillo. First corner for San Antonio is a return to sender. Castillo wins a second corner for San Antonio. These have come in bunches tonight, haven't they?
They have. You want one, you'll get 6.
Well, I don't know if there's a direct correlation. They're all part of the Spurs and sports and entertainment family, but Castillo to San Antonio FC. As this swung in off the side of the net from Castillo. There are a couple of Spurs that he might remind you of in terms of how he's ingrained himself in the community.
Like
your Tony Parkers. I mean, just a guy who makes his living, makes his career in San Antonio. He was there in 2014, won the Soccer Bowl with the Scorpions. Ends up coming over to San Antonio FC as an expansion franchise, and a guy who's coaching in the area, and he wants his green card, and he's learning English, and he's come into San Antonio and called it home. It really is a heartwarming story, what he's brought. As there's dancing up and down this Fresno crowd, and Fuego needs more cowbell.
always more cowbell.
Laid up the left-hand channel, chance to serve for Fresno. Blasted back out, Camden Faywell pops it up. Presley is fouled by Cooper.
And just going back to Castillo, the way that he, he's kind of a general on the field. He organizes his team. He has this real presence. And I think it speaks to what you're talking about. He's so invested not only in this team, but then also community-wise. You can sense that from his presence within the white lines, too.
Maybe more of a Manu Ginobili, however you want to put it. It's there is an organizational philosophy with the Spurs that no matter what they get into, the NBA G League, the USL, the NBA, they're a class organization, no doubt about that. Presley, the 360. Elizondo off the field for him earlier in this match. Guadarrama coming off for Tierpak. San Antonio, one more sub remaining for them. Escalante nearing the byline. Another corner.
And it's just on this side of the pitch, really, too. They come quickly on this side. That's a promising attack from San Antonio. I feel like it was the most dynamic that they've looked so far, in Escalante getting to the end line. And that type of delivery where it's coming back across the face of goal is just dangerous. And he earns a corner kick, but it could have led to more if it would have gone through.
Castillo. Tierpak heads it back in. Presley was after it. It's a goal kick. Camden Faywell preserving that goal kick.
Remember, it's not too late to get your Fresno FC tickets and join the originals. Season tickets starting at $12 a match for 20 home matches. Contact our ticket experts at the ticket sales table on the concourse today.
Fresno trying to avoid their first shutout in franchise history. Looking to find a 6th consecutive unbeaten match one way or another. Sever Guzman. Guzman making his horizontal run. King widening out. Throw for Fresno. One of those spark plugs for Fresno in the early going. Christian Chaney will check in. Replace Danny Barrera. A sub that reeks of Fresno trying to go out and get 3 points rather than 1.
I think it's a good sub. Chaney came in midweek and made a difference. Was a part of the goal. That happened for Fresno. And I like this. I think if you're Coach Adam Smith, you want to go. You want to go for some points here. You're at home. You've been knocking on the door. You've had opportunities. It's kind of slipped away a little bit in the last few minutes. San Antonio getting a little bit better of the play. Can you regain it in these last 7 minutes of play and figure out a way to get some more opportunities on goal?
Kicked away by Daly. Visit the USL's Instagram story tomorrow. Watch Kelsey Steele's hat trick. She'll break down 3 key talking points every Monday evening from the previous week's action. Chaney is taking this away. Knocked out by Pekka. Navarro. It's a whistle against Chaney.
Fresno FC 2018 main plans are now available with 3 options to choose from, creating the best fit for your needs. For more information, please visit our ticket experts on the concourse.
Well, Restrepo's had a roller coaster night, no doubt about that.
But not a bad roller coaster for him because it still says 0.
That's right.
For Fresno.
Headed down by Navarro. That off at Johnson. There's an appeal for a handball by Powell. Play back by Cochran. Restrepo has company. Navarro. Back out to Escalante. Tier pack aiming for Castillo. At the halfway line, Pekka left that short. Jamal Johnson. Well, Chaney was the one leading the line. Kaffa was chasing after that. Cochran. Presley. Rishandel. Restrepo. Little pushing and shoving, and that's high from Tierpak. Now the referee's got to make decisions. Chris Tierpak does not take it from anybody. Fiery player. Still arguing as he walks away from this. The AR trying to help with this here.
Get your tickets for Fox's next home match against Rio Grande Valley FC Toros on Wednesday, May 9th.
Uh-oh. Tier pack sent off. Well, it was tough to see whether or not he really threw a punch up high or simply had his extremity head up. And for the second straight game, Fresno's opposition will finish with 10. Tierpak walking down the tunnel is the villain.
Chris Tierpak from San Antonio FC.
And with the changes that Fresno FC has made, I think it suits them now. Now they're up a man. They have these offensive players in the game. This is an opportunity if they seize it. So we look at what happened here. There's an extra push there from Tierpak.
Tierpak, a guy who spent time. Here's the red card at Chivas USA out in California, and he knew it. He didn't need to see the red card to know that the referee would go to his pocket. Well, now Fresno will try and find a go-ahead goal in the final moments. Backheeled Rodolfo, shot out in front by Johnson. It's Navarro. Throws in. Ball bouncing to the top. Hoffa gave chase. Navarro again. Johnson. Jamal Johnson still trying to muscle through two. Falls down. Now chance for San Antonio. Down to 10 men here down the stretch. Escalante. Castillo makes himself available. Tries to send it through. 3 minutes of added time. See if either of these teams can come away with what would be a huge win this present moment.
Fourth official signals 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Great ball for Johnson. Works on Cochran, sends the cross, caught by Restrepo.
That's such a good ball by Johnson. If anybody is running near, that makes the save that much more difficult from Restrepo. Talk about a veteran move here. We'll see if this is really a calf cramp, but for Castillo, you know, he's a smart player. Momentum starts to swing. Try to break that a little bit late in the game.
On Castillo's first rodeo.
Mercedes-Benz of Fresno is excited to be a part of history. Somos Zorros. Thank you, Fresno Clovis Convention and Visitors Bureau, for being
Chris Tierpak sent off in the 89th minute.
Let our website be your guide. Find everything about Fresno County, from events, places to stay, dine, shop, and play.
Find out which teams are hitting peak performance in the USL. Find out every Monday afternoon when the USLsoccer.com power rankings are released. See where your team ranks after their most recent results. Referees keeping an eye on his watch. It's about 60 to 90 seconds coming off the clock. There is a change. It's Castillo comes off, and Mikey Lopez spent the last 2 years with New York City Football Club. Coming on, Terran Campbell hands his card into the official as well. Jamal Johnson off. Campbell on. Johnson was playing on a yellow card.
And it's his first minutes since coming back from that little injury he had, and bring in some fresh legs, see if you can get after a makeshift back line, back
Coming in, number 19, Taryn Campbell.
midfield, excuse me, as they kind of shift around and play a little bit more defensive.
Tossed in by Navarro. Here we go. We've reached the 3 minutes, but the ball had been out of play for legitimately 2 minutes of that. Header out in front. Restrepo makes the catch, falls down on the ball. Fresno on the verge of 6 unbeaten, but a couple straight draws at home where they felt like they could have gotten more. For San Antonio, every point on the road is precious. Their 6th game, they could be sitting on 6 points, despite some early offensive woes. Ball played through and lifted out. This is entirely up to the referee right now. Makes it impossible to know how much more time we have. We know that Navarro's got a long throw. Will he make this dangerous here? Navarro launches. Popped up by Daly. Navarro brings it down. Daly knocks it ahead. Steered wide left. It's Cooper. Cooper crossing out in front. Punched out in front. Restrepo's a little bit banged up. Bounces in front of Juan Pablo Caffa. Caffa into the corner. Caffa onto his left, crossing. It's knocked away, Restrepo. Follow-up is over the crossbar. And will that do it for San Antonio if they assured themselves a draw on the road? That's it, full time. Fresno has been shut out for the first time in franchise history. San Antonio does enough. Restrepo is down, still in pain at the full-time whistle, and he does enough to keep the Foxes off the board in those final seconds.
Today's Fresno FC Man of the Match, presented by El Mexicano.
I had just mentioned about this near post run. There it is from Ribeiro, and he nearly got a touch on it, and that's all it would have taken. It falls kindly to Campbell, and a couple touches into the game, he might have had himself a game winner. He sends it up and over, well high of Restrepo. You got to credit Restrepo. He made some fantastic saves tonight to keep Fresno FC out of the back of the net.
He did enough. He and Caffa embracing the game now complete. Rainish a shutout for Fresno. This game finishes on level terms. Tierpak sent off in the final moments, but it finishes here tonight. Fresno FC 0, San Antonio FC 0. We'll wrap this one up. Get you ready for the next one on the docket for Fresno when we return.
POG. POTG.
now the smoke finally billowing out. They've got a result. Fresno FC picking up their 10th point of the year in their 7th game, the most of any expansion team in the league. San Antonio FC picks up their 6th point. They're now 1 win, 2 losses, 3 draws on the year. Kyle Rainish is tonight's man of the match, presented by El Mexicano. He didn't have to do all that much, but when he was called upon, he made some good stops.
He did, and I think you got to keep the streak alive, right? And to have a shutout at home, it feels good if you're Kyle Rainish, and good performance by him overall.
Rainish, a couple of saves here down the stretch and able to keep San Antonio off the board. It's now 6 unbeaten for these Foxes fans in this Foxes franchise. As we take a look back at our full-time highlights. And Jordan, in the first half, it was a ton of possession for San Antonio FC, but they didn't get a shot on target. Those all belong to Fresno.
And San Antonio, that was their best chance of the first half. It happened pretty quickly. And then Fresno coming back after San Antonio throughout the whole first half, had one opportunity after another. This could have been a goal, I think, from Kaffa if he goes with power instead of trying to loft it.
Speaking of power, long-range effort from Ribeiro, looking for another SportsCenter Top 10 nominee. Shortly before halftime, a chance for Beto Navarro. Up and down would be one way to put it for Diego Restrepo. In the end, he's able to keep the clean sheet. There was a lot of that, though, chaotic defending.
His team asked a lot of him, playing some passes back to him that were difficult. This game wasn't without little special moments. I think that opportunity was the best one for San Antonio FC in the second half. But how about this save from Restrepo? Beautiful diving to save, to keep it Kaffa out of the back of the net.
And then down the final minutes of this one, came out for Cesaris. He drives it wide. Is there a late goal to be had? This kept alive by Kaffa, lobs it back into a dangerous spot, and that was the real save of the game, perhaps.
Yeah, Mickey Daly, a good opportunity to just put it away. Restrepo was having none of it.
And then this, 88th minute, he came on as a substitute. Chris Tierpak shown straight red for what appeared to be an errant punch. We move on, and it was late. Again, chaotic defending from Restrepo. That final kick of the game.
And possession favoring San Antonio, we talked about this. Their possession was a lot in their defensive to middle third, not really possessing much going forward. The shots, though, Fresno, if you're looking at that, you have 6 shots on target. You have 19 shots overall. You got to get one of those in the back of the net.
For San Antonio, they are at Las Vegas next, a game you'll see on ESPN3. For Fresno, they'll take to the road. They had just 2 road games in their first 7. This, their 2-game road swing to start the month of May. They're at Phoenix on the 28th of April, and then they open up at San Antonio in the month of May on the 5th. So it finishes tonight 0-0 between Fresno and San Antonio. It is 6 consecutive unbeaten for Fresno FC. For San Antonio FC, they continue to struggle to find the back of the net, but they do enough away to pick up a vital road point. For Jordan Angeli, our entire team in Fresno, Mike Watts saying so long. It's a good result for both in the end. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Written consent of the United Soccer League.